Bring on our tech guests because it's a very decent day of trade. There's plenty of movers and buzzers. Second straight day where we're seeing some nice movement across counters. Kunal Bothra, of course, with us in the studio. We're also joined by Arpit Beriwal of Motilal Oswal Financial Services joining us. Good afternoon, both of you gentlemen. Let me start with you, Arpit. With regard to the index move, around 0.6% higher, 150 points higher. Does this change the kind of momentum that we've been in, that sluggish kind of momentum? And does this hint at a change?
Very good afternoon to all. So if we see overall Nifty, if I look at the technical setup on the weekly time frame, for the last 3 weeks, it is trading in a range between 23,850 on the downside, whereas on the upside, 24,425, 24,440 levels. So looking at the setup wise, definitely the buying is visible at the lower levels, but at the same time, index is unable to sustain above 24,300, 24,350 levels. So today we have seen good momentum. In fact, I'll say some bounce back move in IT index, because of it, Nifty is relatively outperforming. But overall sense is that Nifty is likely to consolidate between this range of 23,850 to 24,250, 24,350, 300. Once it closes above 24,300 levels, we can see more momentum towards 24,600 levels. But till that time, overall our view would be range bound within this broader range, 23,850 to 24,300 levels.
What levels are you looking at, Kunal, if at all?
See, I think, just to give a very interesting comparison, look at the Nifty Next 50 index. This comprises of the Nifty stocks, which is beyond the Nifty 50 basket, and of course the other large cap set. Now that Nifty Next 50 index is actually at a 20% rally from 6,000 levels. We are almost at 7,200 plus on the 72,000 plus from 60,000 levels. So that tells you that there's been a 20% jump. The index is above the 200-day moving average by a margin of 10%. Now if you come back to the Nifty 50 index, we are still trading at say 1,000 points or 1,000 points lower broadly for the benchmark index from its 200-day moving average. So that itself tells you that the major pressure points for the markets are the large cap names which are part of the benchmark indices. But other than that, even if you go to the Nifty Next 50, the mid cap, small cap indices, the market breadth has been fantastic. So that's why I would believe that only with few of those large cap names like HDFC Bank, Reliance, the IT names, the fact that these stocks are not participating is acting as a drag for the benchmark indices. And in that aspect, I would still look at 24,250 as a resistance for the Nifty over the near term and 23,850 as a support.
Okay. What's the take with regard to IT? I think Arpit indicated some bit of positive bias there. Kunal, your take on the Nifty IT in particular, and can this bounce really sustain, or will we see another dip? Because that's what we've seen. The trend has been one step up, two steps down with regard to where IT is concerned.
Yeah, it's concerning for the IT stocks and the sector at large, where you've seen these stocks going into constant price correction. But, we've seen historically that many a times, when stock prices go into a very sharp corrective phase at the fag end of a correction, the opportunities of going contra emerges quite strongly. However, I would still believe that, these stocks have to confirm at least one level of a breakout of a swing pattern resistance. That level could be almost 4-5% higher for the IT stocks and the IT index at large from the current juncture. So it's more like a risk appetite trade for someone who's looking at this as a bounce back and want to play for the next 4-5%. I would believe that it could be a good opportunity to look at selective IT names in the likes of TCS, Infosys, for example, is doing very well for itself. Persistent, Tech Mahindra, etc. These are strong names which have been best performers in their respective legs of the IT stocks. But the bigger trend would emerge once we break past about the first level of swing resistances. So I would want to play a little bit more on the conservative side, would wait for that first swing resistance being taken out, then would initiate a buy on IT stocks.
Okay. Arpit, your top picks from within Nifty IT, if you were to play it, and what are the upsides that you're looking at from here, if at all?
So if we see overall the IT index on the monthly time frame, it is still the structure is lower as intact. And if I see as the onset of the new month, result season is ahead. So we are seeing some bounce back move from the lower levels. So overall, if we see the bigger trend is still negative. Having said that, if you want to play some bounce back move, so we have to better go with these selective large cap names. Looking at the overall setup wise, there are a couple of names that are there. just for a bounce back move. First would be TCS itself. Having said that, on the daily time frame, the structure is still lower, so we'll wait for confirmation. But if someone wants to be an aggressive, so one can go contra buy over here with major support around 2000 for a bounce back towards 2150 levels. Important level is that weekly time frame it is still forming low rise structure. So the upside move also would be short lived. Along with the second would be from the mid cap space, that would be Coforge. Relatively, we see Coforge was relatively outperforming comparatively within the IT packet. Last few days have been corrective phase, but today again some buying is visible. It is near its 50 demo. So I think from here on some bounce back move can be seen towards 1500, 1540 levels. This would be the two stock ideas. But overall, the bigger trend is still negative. So it's just a bounce back move to be played for next couple of sessions.
Okay. What we'll do is slip into a very short break. We've discussed a bit about IT, more to go. Something like a Tata Tech is perked up 6.5%. Curious to know as to whether there's a stock call out there with regard to some of the ER&D names. We'll talk a little bit about that on the other side. Stay with us.
Back with closing trades, and so much to watch out for in terms of the way the market is shaping up today. We're at 24,183, the day's highest point, and inching closer to the 24,200 mark after being in that range of 24,000 to 24,100 for the majority part of the trading day. You've got good moves coming in on the Sensex, the Nifty IT index. Of course, we've been talking about it. It's close to seeing 5% gains on an intraday basis. The broader end is also holding up wonderfully. It's the India VIX that's lower by 6%, so further cool off over there as well. But while all of that is on the equity front, let's take a quick look at the FNO 360, and Sajit is joining us with that on the show.
Thanks, Sneh, for that. If you look at what's happening in the market is currently, it's primarily a short covering rally, which we are seeing the Nifty up nearly 0.76%, premium at 86, and the open interest unwind of nearly 1% in today's trade. So it's basically a lot of put writing is happening and unwinding of calls also in the option side, but in the future side, it's a shorts which are getting covered for the Nifty. The Nifty Bank are almost flat at this point in time, and that's primarily because there's a there's a short covering also happening for some of the stocks, but at the same time a short build up happening for many of the private sector banks there. Look at what's happening in the Nifty Bank constituents. There's a long build-up happening in HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, but across the board, others we are seeing a short build-up happening, especially in the Axis, Kotak, Indus, BOB, PNB, and Bandhan Bank there, and some of the public sector banks are seeing some long build-up coming in there. Look at call and put writing. That gives you a clear indication. 24,000, there's an unwinding of call which is happening for the July 7 series. There's an aggressive put build-up which is happening at 24,000, 24,100 and 24,200. But if you look at the distribution, it gives you an indication that, while there's a strong support coming at 24,000, 24,100, there is a resistance as 24,200, and that's where the market is at this point in time, hovering between 24,100 and 24,200 there. In the future gainers, you have some of the auto companies and ancillary companies which are active today. Exide, Sona BLW, and Force Motors all up between 6 and 7%. In the losers, you have stocks like BOB, Avenue, and K FinTech, where we are seeing some short build-up happening. Among the open interest gainers, you have companies like Avenue. There's a short build-up happening. KPIT is seeing a 14% jump in short build-up, and Delivery is seeing a long build-up of 10%. Among the losers side, open interest losers include Persistent System, where there's a short covering happening. Alchem is seeing a long unwind, and Tata Elxsi is again seeing some shorts getting covered in today's trade there. But most active stock options today, Infosys 1000 July call. There's an unwind of 8.2 lakh contracts which is happening. A jump, Infosys was moved to the 4-digit figure, 4,043. Good support coming in for Infosys. The premium up nearly 28 rupees to 64, and that's one of the most active counters in today's trade. In the put side, you have TCS 2000 July put, where The open interest is up nearly 1.76 lakh contracts. The premium has fallen by 46 to 39.40, but the stock hovering just above the 2000 mark at 2070 odd levels. So it's a short covering rally which is happening in the market at this point in time. The Nifty hovering around 24,181 at this point.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Sajid. Let me bring in Mitali. Bank of Baroda has agreed to pay about 5,700 crore rupees to settle the long-running NMC Health litigation through an out-of-court settlement agreement. Mitali here with all of the details on that one. Stock down.
Right, so Bank of Baroda, that stock seems to be under pressure and is down nearly 5% as we speak after the PSU lender announced a massive 5,700 odd crore rupees of settlement in the long-running NMC case. Now, the bank will be paying around $600 million or roughly 5,700 crore rupees to settle the litigation linked to the collapse of UAE-based healthcare giant NMC Health. Now, importantly, Bank of Baroda also says that this settlement is without any admission of liability or wrongdoing, and it brings all the claims against the bank to an end. Now, what is the background of this NMC case? If we talk about that, so back in 2020, NMC Health, founded by B.R. Shetty, collapsed after the investigators, they uncovered around $6.6 billion of hidden debt. Following the collapse, NMC's administrators, they sued B.R. Shetty as well as the former CEO, Prasant Manghat, and Bank of Baroda, alleging that the bank facilitated certain banking transactions linked to the fraud. Bank of Baroda has consistently denied these allegations post the investigation, but now, instead of waiting for the court's verdict, the bank has now chosen to settle the case. While the move remains a major legal overhang and ends years of uncertainty, that amount, particularly 5,700 odd crores, is actually roughly equivalent to 1 quarter's profit, if you see, for Bank of Baroda, and it's one of the reasons why you can see that stock has been declined after this announcement has come out.
Okay, Mitali, thanks for taking us through that. So that in a nutshell is the chain of events that have transpired at Bank of Baroda, and this out-of-court settlement being the final one, the latest one rather, and we're seeing a cut of about 5% on the charts for Bank of Baroda. Kunal, keeping the fundamentals aside, this 5% dip on Bank of Baroda looking good to buy on the technical basis?
See, I think PSU stocks, overall PSU banking names are the ones where I have been little shying away in terms of initiating a trade, because most of the PSU banking sector and the stocks within the sector are still looking, I would say, relatively weak on the charts. So even though I think Bank of Baroda has come back to that multi-week low around 255 to 58 mark where it's trading right now, I would still be a little skeptical of going for a buy on the stock.
Okay, skeptical still on Bank of Baroda, and that is the sentiment for the PSU banking basket as well. Arpit, hi, I was just looking at some of the auto anch stocks that are abuzz in trade today. The case being something like a Sona BLW, you've got CE Infosystems, Exide is doing well. Some tire stocks like Seat are doing well. Anything looking good from the broader auto pack? Anything from auto anchs looking attractive?
So absolutely, if we see the auto index, if we see the peripheral industry within the auto index, they're looking quite strong, especially the auto ancillary sector as a whole, apart from the auto key stocks. If I look at the chart structure such as of Sona BLW, along with the Bharat Forge or Force Motors. So this couple of ideas are looking good. So first pick would be from this space would be Bharat Forge. So looking at the chart setup of Bharat Forge, quite strong on the monthly setup. A range breakout on the monthly setup, consolidating on the daily and weekly time frame. The stock looks good, overall holding well above to its crucial support zone around 2050. The stock can head towards 2250, 2300 levels positionally. Along with that, today, after a long time, Sona BLW has given a classical range breakout on the daily time frame after almost 7 to 8 weeks. And if we see the setup wise, the momentum is still continue and the stock can head towards 700, 720 levels. So within this fit, Sona BLW and Bharat Forge looks quite strong for next couple of days, 2 weeks time.
Okay, Sona BLW and Bharat Forge looking strong. We've lost that feed with Arpit, but on that note, Arpit, thank you so much for your time today and for sharing your views and your stock recommendations with our viewers. With that, time to slip into a very short break. We'll keep the discussion going on the other side. Stay tuned.